Each bold leap forward was achieved by those...
Hey, what's happening, guys? Now, if you didn't know, the latest game in the BioWare Mass Effect series has been released. It's been out for a couple of weeks now, so I thought I would take this time to give my thoughts on the game. I'm not going to call this a review, as I don't think I possess the skills needed for a proper critical review. This will simply be my opinion of the game so far. I do hope that it gives some insight into the game and allows for a bit more transparency into the game's mechanics and graphics. I know that a number of people have been on the fence when it comes to this game due to a lot of negativity over the graphics and animations, but I'll touch on that later.
Today, we begin to make our dream reality.
First, let's set the scene. Andromeda starts during the events of Mass Effect 2. The Andromeda Initiative was launched to see about starting a colony outside of the Milky Way galaxy. I will assume that this was already underway when the Reapers were discovered, and that the timeline for the project was accelerated so that the Andromeda Initiative could be a way of the races surviving if Shepard and his crew failed to defeat the Reapers. Huge arcs were built by each of the races to be part of the initiative, so we have Human, Turian, Solarian and Krogan arcs, each carrying around 60,000 of their own population. Ahead of launching the arcs was a joint species vessel called the Nexus. This went out ahead and would be converted into a space station that the arcs would dock at. This would then become the base of operations, very much like the Citadel was within the original trilogy. Each race had chosen a golden world, one that would suit the requirements of their population before they set off. Remember that the Mass Effect relays are only found within the Milky Way, so travel outside of galaxies takes a long time, even with the advancements in ship's drives. 635 years to be exact, and a lot can change in this time. As you would expect, when you wake up from cryo, things are not as golden as when you went to sleep. In this game, you choose between one of two fraternal twins. This is Andromeda's version of the Shepard-Femshep male-female protagonist choice. I like what they do here, as whichever one you pick, the other twin's cryopod malfunctions and they're left in a form of coma during the game. There is a way of communicating with them later on, and it's nice to see them still included in the story, and there's an actual reason why the other one isn't around. As always, you get to customize your character as you see fit before the game, and actually during. There's a station on board that allows you to rejig your character if you don't like it, or you just get bored. So you are part of the Pathfinder squad on board your Ark. Your father is the Pathfinder. Pathfinders are there to assist in the finding of a new home in Andromeda, and in the event that the Golden Worlds do not pan out, searching for alternative sites to colonize. During a scouting mission on the first Golden World, you find an aggressive species called the Ket. Earlier on in the game, you find that the Ket have been fucking with this region of space while you were in transit from the Milky Way.
to go! That's the last of them.
Your father sacrifices his life in order to save you and passes on the Pathfinder ability, which seems tied to an AI called Sam that he had created years before. This makes you the Pathfinder, so off we go to dock with the Nexus and see if the other arcs have had better luck.
Repeat, we need an emergency extraction now.
They're spinning up the shuttle. ETA is 3, maybe 4 minutes.
We don't have that long. Deep breath. What are you?
Initiating transfer.
Unfortunately, the other arcs never made it to the Nexus. In fact, you're the only one they have seen or heard from in around a year. The crew of the Nexus had completely given up on the initiative and figured that they had been left to die. Saying a Pathfinder has given them renewed hope, so no pressure. They give you a new ship, the Tempest, which seems to be based on the Normandy, but from what you're told, it's faster and more advanced. At this point, the game opens up, allowing you to travel to the various systems that you know about, and we start the game proper.
Tempest. Godspeed, Pathfinder.
The gameplay is pretty much standard Mass Effect fare. The main quests are there to progress the story, whereas the side quests are for fun and equipment. As normal, you gain XP and you level up your character and those in your group. The big change here is that the class system is pretty much done away with. Instead, you're able to put your skill points into any of the skills tree you want, and the more you spend within each tree, the more profiles you unlock. The profiles are what you will remember as the classes from the original game, so soldier, engineer, things like that. But here, really, all they do is boost the character's skills and attributes in certain areas. Profiles can be swapped out on the fly, allowing you to quickly adapt to the different situations. The worlds that I have explored so far are huge. Without the Nomad, which is Mass Effect Andromeda's version of the Mako, it would take ages to travel across. The ability to reach certain points and land forward command posts opens up the ability to fast travel to these posts and swap out equipment, which is a very nice touch. From space, the travelling, scanning and mining is a mix of the mechanics from Mass Effects 2 and 3. I like the fact that they've taken away the fuel consumption from the ship while within systems, so you can travel wherever you want. Let's talk about the graphics. For a while now, players and reviewers have been up in arms about how bad the graphics are when compared to the older games. In certain parts I agree, but I only seem to notice it on my character during cutscenes. The facial expressions look strange, and at times they remind me of something out of Swarth's Filmmaker or Gary's mod. Outside of that, however, I don't really see it. While in game, exploring, fighting, I think everything looks great. Now at this point I will say that BioWare have started to roll out the first of their patches. The first came out on Thursday the 6th of April, which is starting to help with the graphics, and I can see it in certain areas. Again, it's mostly within the cutscenes. Characters that I am interacting with look sharper, less glossy, but my guy still looks odd at times. The animations of the characters has also been a big talking point, and I can honestly say I have not experienced anything like what I have seen online, and at this point I'm about 10 to 12 hours into the game. I will point out that I was also the guy who played through the entirety of Assassin's Creed Unity when it first came out, and I never got a single crash or graphical glitch. Maybe I'm just lucky. When it comes to my character's animations, at times I've seen something out of my peripheral that seems to be my guy's legs or arms doing something weird, but to be fair, I'm not constantly watching them as I'm looking ahead of me at what's coming up or who I'm fighting, so I really don't notice it too much. BioWare will continue to roll out their patches, so I would expect the game's experience to keep getting better and better. I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that yes, this is a flawed game in some aspects, but in spite of that, I can't stop playing it. I want to keep exploring the systems, I want to keep making better armor and weapons, I want to keep going through the story, leveling up, getting new skills, destroying new enemies. The game is thoroughly enjoyable, and that is what I look for in a game. The graphics don't have to be perfect. There can be glitches and the odd strange animation, but this isn't enough for me to throw my hands up and stop playing, not when the core game is as good as I've experienced so far. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at Andromeda, and maybe it's answered a few of the questions that you've had in regards to the game. Remember to hit me up on Facebook or in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Cheers!